Hey everybody, it's Disher of TrueFitty, and we're back looking at another GLC review. Today we're looking at Prismatic Evolutions. Now this is a mini set, so the set is not nearly as big, and it also really focuses on standard, as well as having a lot of reprints in the set. It is a collector's set, really. So there's not too many new cards, so this is going to be a short one, but we'll look at the full set regardless, and then rank the relatable cards 1 through 5, and then we will, as always, look at the type tier list at the very end to look at the current meta, in my opinion. So we saved the best for first. We're looking at Bidoof, which is a grass basic, 30 HP, free recross, and a free attack for Itchy Pollen. Does 10 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, they can't play any item cards from their hand. So this card is absolutely ridiculous. Going second, you know, your opponent can be item locked as soon as turn 2, and this guy is great for stalling because usually in grass you need time to evolve your guys and whatnot. So this guy is fantastic, and going first, it makes your opponent like preemptively play all their items, you know, to get them out. But if they do that and they play like their Evolution Incense or their Evo Soda or Ultra Ball, stuff like that, then to get their evolutions right, you can play a card like N or Marnie or Iono to disrupt that, and then they've wasted those items, and then you item lock it. So Bidoof is a fantastic starter. You can totally build your deck around this little guy. You can play like Ariados to poison your opponent. You can play the Lurantis promo to boost its damage. There is another card coming out in the next set that also boosts your grass damage, so that's super awesome. So really, you can stack up this damage pretty easily. So I'm gonna give Bidoof a 5. Yeah. I don't think there's any reason where you're not playing this card. It is just a fantastic starter mon. Completely can shut down your opponent. So Bidoof is phenomenal. But that's the only thing in grass. There's nothing in fire, unfortunately, because fire needs some love. So next we're looking at Slowking, which is a stage 1. 3 energy does 70 damage, and you may put 2 energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon into their hand, which is extremely disruptive, and can completely slow your opponent down. And they might have to take a turn off to re-establish their board, right? The damage is a little low, and the attack is for 3, but I mean, water has a ton of acceleration, right? So it's not like that big of a deal. This is an interesting card though for disruption. I'm gonna give Slowking a 3. Then we have Seaking, which is another festival lead card. I don't think we've seen this guy, but we already had this Goldeen, right? This is a reprint, and it's a festival lead, right? If you have the stadium, then it can attack twice. But Seaking has the same ability with Rapid Draw, which does 60 damage, and you draw 2 cards, which is actually it's decent on its own. It's okay. But with Festival Grounds, you are now. This basically reads, for a single energy, you do 120 and draw 4 cards, which is very, very good, I think. So in a Festival lead deck, maybe a lower to the ground water deck, I think this guy is pretty good. So I'm going to give Seeking a 3. After that, nothing for Lightning. And for the first time in like forever, we have nothing new for Psychic to play with. Fighting also doesn't have anything new though, unfortunately, so that is a shame. So we're going all the way to Dark, and we're going to look at Houndoom. Now, Houndoom, call to muster, search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way that you like. So I think this is here just for the acceleration, because you can accelerate to Guzzlord, essentially. But now that I think about it, we already have the TM Turbo Energize, which does the same thing. So this guy is not like the greatest, but really he's just there for Guzzlord, right? So I'm gonna give Houndoom a 2. Let's see, I want to double check that. Yeah, there wasn't a Fire Houndoom. Yeah. And then there's nothing new for Metal or Dragon or Colorless, really. It's like all reprints. If you want to do Colorless Stall, you can play this Regigigas, I guess, but he's not that, he's not good. So, yeah, there's that. So we're actually just going to go right into the trainers. First up is Amaris, which is a supporter that reads, draw 4 cards. At the end of this turn, if you have 5 or more cards in your hand, discard your hand, which is very stressful. But people are already basically playing a draw 4, right? I mean, people are playing like Colress's Experiment, where they basically are seeing 5 cards, but you keep 3, you know? And you can usually play your hand down, right? But that's kind of stressful. I do think this is a little too situational, so I'm going to give Amaris a 2. We have a ton of other reprints. We do have the Haban Berry, which is just another berry. This one is for Dragon Pokemon, so you take 60 less damage from Dragon Pokemon, so very situational. It's going to be a 2. Then Larry's Skill. I'm not sure if this is new or not, but you discard your hand and search your deck for a Pokemon, supporter, and basic energy. Reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So you're using a supporter to search for a supporter, but you also get a Pokemon and a basic energy. I think this is really steep, where you have to discard your hand for this. So I think Larry's Skill is a 1. I think it's just way too drastic for not that big of a payoff. So we're gonna look at Roto Stick, which you look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal any number of supporter cards you find there and put them into your hand. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. Now, this is okay. This is basically like another Trainer's Mail, but you can only use it, you can only grab supporters, which stinks. Um, but like it's still useful. It does let you dig a little bit for the supporter you need, so still a solid option. I wouldn't play this over Trainer's Mail ever, but if you wanted to play both, I think it would be just fine. So I will give Rotostick a 3. So that's going to do it for the set list, actually. That's it. Very, very short, not a lot to look at, like I said. So now we're going to move to the type tier list. And still at the very top, I think that Colorless and Psychic are the strongest types. I personally think that Colorless is probably number 1, but I think that these two, I think there's an argument for Psychic as well. These two, I think, are still the strongest types in the game. So shout out to Kevin at the shop, because before I had Dark up here, and Kevin said he didn't think that it was the up here in one of the best, like one of the best types, like S tier, and I disagreed with him. But after thinking about it, I think the inconsistencies of Dark, I think I do. I think Kevin was right, and I'm gonna put Dark down here in tier 1. Actually, I think Guzzlord is an absolute menace and literally carries your deck. But it does have a lot of inconsistencies, so yeah, I'm gonna put it down in tier 1. But then besides that, like, nothing has changed. Dragon, Lightning, Water, and Grass are still tier 1, I believe, still very, very strong. And then in tier 2, Fighting and Metal. Fighting just has, just a little too much inconsistencies, but, some of the best attackers. And Metal can be a little clunky at times, but can still be solid. And then I do think besides Fairy, Fire is definitely the weakest out of the types. And then you just have Fairy, which there's only really one way to play Fairy, which is Control, and if people know how to counter that, then the deck can, fall apart, and it's very difficult to pilot, I think. I think you really have to know what you're doing to play that. So, yeah, there's my tier list. Sorry that this one is so short, but the set is very small. If I did miss a card that you wanted me to review, please let me know in the comments. If I got a ranking wrong on something, then also let me know. But thanks for watching, guys. Anyways, I will see you in the next one.